Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty profound from the Raft to Freedom program, mindfulness of the body's impermanence. Now, I know that might sound a little heavy, right? But stick with me, because we're going to see how its real purpose is actually about liberation, about freedom.
And this quote right here from Gotama, the Buddha, it just hits the nail on the head. It's really the core of what we're talking about today. The whole idea is simple, but so powerful. When you can see things for what they really are, temporary, always changing, that's when you start to turn away from suffering.
So, this isn't just some topic we picked out of a hat. It's actually a really important destination on the RAF journey. We've arrived at the final practice on what the program calls the island of grounding mindfulness. And this whole part of the journey is about understanding our human experience, right through our own bodies. And just in case you need a quick refresher, the whole RAFT program is a journey in 4 stages. The acronym RAFT, it stands for Recognize the Difficulties in Life, Abandon the Harmful Cravings and Patterns that Cause Us So Much Pain, Experience the Freedom That's Totally Possible, and finally, Train the Mind to Stay on that new, healthier path. Okay, so think about that metaphor. We've been building this raft, right? To get us from a shore of suffering to a shore of safety. Well, today's practice is about looking at the raft itself. We're looking at the actual wood and rope, our own bodies, and recognizing that the raft isn't going to last forever. All right, section 1, our raft's true nature. So let's get into why this is such a big deal, why this insight is so crucial. I get it. You're probably thinking, hold on, why would I want to even think about this stuff? It sounds morbid. And that's a totally fair question. Believe me, the RAF program gets right to the heart of that concern. Because this is what it's really about. The purpose isn't to get you down, it's the total opposite. It's about liberation. Looking at impermanence head-on helps us break free from attachment, find a real sense of balance, what's called equanimity. And it even creates this spiritual urgency. It's like a powerful kick to remind us to use our time well. It helps us reduce fear, see past this idea of a fixed me, and get some perspective on all those fleeting pursuits. Okay, section 2, a radical ancient practice. Yeah, this modern approach we're talking about, it's actually adapted from something that has some pretty, let's say, intense ancient roots. Way back when, this practice was, it was very direct. We're talking about going to charnel grounds, places where bodies were left, and actually observing the natural process of decomposition. The idea was to see the truth of impermanence with your own eyes, no filter. And this part is absolutely crucial to get. The point was never to create disgust or morbidity or any kind of self-hatred. In fact, Gotama warned against that stuff. The real goal then and now is to find wisdom. And kind of surprisingly, it's also about finding a really deep self-compassion that comes from just accepting reality for what it is. The heart of it all boils down to this single reflection. You're not just looking at something out there that's separate from you. You're bringing it home, internalizing this universal truth. My body, too, is of the same nature. It will be like that. It is not exempt from that fate. Wow. Letting that sink in is what helps to cut through all the denial and the fear. Okay, section 3, gentle ways to reflect. Now, if that ancient practice sounds, a bit too intense for right now, and for most of us it is, the good news is the RAF program gives us some gentler ways to get to that same wisdom. So here are a few skillful ways to approach this. First, you can just practice mindfulness of aging. Noticing the signs of aging in yourself and other people, but doing it with kindness, not judgment. Then you can kind of zoom out, see our bodies as just another part of nature's big cycle of birth, growth, and decay, just like a plant or a season. And what's amazing is that facing this fragility can actually make you so much more grateful for the here and now. It helps you build this gentle acceptance of how life works. Now, this is a really, really important point from the program. This practice isn't for everyone all the time. You have to be wise about it. If you try it and it just brings up a ton of fear or feels traumatic, then the skillful thing to do is to just stop, set it aside, focus on something else that feels supportive. Your safety and self-compassion, they always come first. No question.
All right, section 4 is all about finding peace in impermanence.
So let's connect the dots. How does thinking about all this actually help us? How does it help us break free from those painful cycles of craving and compulsion?
Well, the practical benefits are huge. When you really get that your body, your feelings, everything is temporary, it just pulls the rug out from under your attachment to those fleeting highs. Suddenly that craving doesn't feel so urgent, because you know it's just going to pass anyway. And this shift in perspective, it really motivates you to ask the big questions, like, okay, what really matters to me? It builds a kind of resilience that's rock solid, because it's based on accepting what is. And remember, this powerful practice is just one piece of the puzzle. The entire RAF program is like a complete roadmap designed to help you navigate your way from suffering all the way to real freedom and well-being. Everything we've talked about today comes directly from the Raft to Freedom workbook. It was written by Dr. Catherine Jacob and Vince Cullen. And, you know, in what is just an incredible act of generosity, they've made the entire thing, all 67 chapters, available for free online. You can find all of it at rafttofreedom.org. Okay, last section, section 5, a final thought for you. As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with something to think about. So here's a question just for you to reflect on. Go back to that raft metaphor. If you think of your body and your mind as the raft that's carrying you on this journey, how does knowing that the raft itself isn't permanent, how does that change the way you see the journey? What suddenly becomes more important? And I'll leave you with this beautiful quote from the neuroscientist Anil Seth, which the chapter closes with. It really suggests that when you have this deep understanding, what's left isn't fear, it's wonder, and it's peace. He says, when the end of consciousness comes, there is nothing to be afraid of, nothing at all. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.